I've noticed all my themes are like complaining that I have no money and complaining
Same.
that I'm not in my 20s anymore and I'm going to lose my beauty. Like those are all my themes. And I'm like, so I kind of like that you're owning your theme. Like you're just kind of owning it and going into it. Cause sometimes I kind of doubt myself and I'm like, is this too depressing? Like maybe I shouldn't be joking about this stuff. It's like too self-depreciative. It's going to be a downer for people. But, you know, I guess at the same time, if people can relate to it or find humor in it, you know, it could be a good thing.
No, I think a lot of us get in that mindset of like I remember early on, you know, when I first started, which was like 20 years ago, over 20 years ago in the early 2000s. And it's just like, you'd get compliments from like guy comics being like, I really like your stand up because it's not very like female humor. And you'd be like, oh, cool. I'm like one of the comics. But then like, you realize that's not it's not a fair assessment. You're like, being a woman is a point of view and it deserves to be heard. And I feel like we've been just told that all the stuff that we do is hacky. And I don't think that's true at all.
There's especially a big like stereotype against women who talk about sex. It's like, oh, they're talking about sex because, you know, they know it's an easy way, a woman talking about sex. And it's like, but again, like I'm a woman, I have sex. Sometimes it's funny. Like those are actual, like you said, genuine perspectives of being a human being that's female. Like, you know what I mean?
I know. It's like, we get that, but like, how many times do we see comics still doing the difference between men and women? And I mean, we've been doing that since the beginning of time. And I feel like, you know, it's still a subject matter that's interesting. Times change where we're at. It's like, I think just letting go of what other people think about what you're talking about gets in the way, and you should just do what jokes come to you and not worry about it.
That's a really good, I like that. That's good insight, because when you really think about it, you can narrow down anything into quote unquote hacky if you really wanted to. You could be like, oh, that's the fat guy telling his fat guy jokes. You know, there's the white guy who grew up in an all black school. Like it's like all these are just different perspectives. You know what I mean? There's no sense of calling it hacky. You know what I mean?
No. And then you play into that. And then you only hurt yourself because later down the line, then there's like some female or male comic that does the exact same material that you were kind of talking about. And then they get lauded as being like refreshing and this is new. Like, I just remember being like, no woman's been talking about sex. This is refreshing to hear this point of view. And you're like, I don't know. I grew up with Elaine Boozler when I was a kid. And I was like, she was doing all of that. Joan Rivers, like, I feel like we just forget about all these past comics.
Yeah.
That, and we just think everything is brand new. And I know that's like a trend on TikTok where they think like Gen Z thinks that they're the first to point these things out. But I think that happens with every generation.
Yeah. I haven't gotten into the TikTok world. I'm like afraid to, you know?
Oh yeah. It's a time waster.
Okay. So my next question for you.